Paramount had a fairly eventful investor day this last week. They announced like a lot of new different projects, big projects that are going to be in development over the next few years. One of the ones that stood out to me the most was that A Quiet Place 3 was actually announced on this investor day. And it's strange too, like, you know, when you read certain things and you're it's how do I put this? Like, it always like opens your eyes, like, oh shit, like they are coming out with this. But at the same time, I'm like, look at how much money A Quiet Place 2 made post-pandemic, right? So it's not that much of a surprise that A Quiet Place 3 is coming out. It's currently set to be released in 2025. And not a lot of details have been released so far, except for, I believe, John Krasinski is returning to direct. Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, are going to be returning to the film as well. So, you know, again, it's another thing to look forward to over the next few years.
John Krasinski coming back, I think that's great. I remember a while ago he said that, he liked doing A Quiet Place Part 2, but then at the same time he was like he wanted someone else to, I guess, handle it. The third one, if there was a third one, he didn't have plans for a third one. I remember reading that or hearing that somewhere, and I guess now, hey, he's coming back. I'm like, yo, that's awesome. Like, I feel like only he gets it. This is his kind of film sort of thing. So, knowing that Quiet Place 3 is coming out in a few years, really, in a couple short years, we're getting there. I'm excited. I love A Quiet Place 1. I love 2. I'm excited to see what he brings with 3, and I'm excited to see the direction considering the ending of 2. So I think the ending of 2, and really 2 in general, opened the world to us a bit more and saw different avenues and different aspects of the world handling these creatures, and it just makes you wonder where else can they go. Don't go to space.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't pull a Fast and Furious and just miraculously go to space. Oh my God, that's other conversations that we've had too many times already on this show. But yeah, no, I it's just funny enough that like it says like, oh, it's set to be released in 2025. Like, I always think it's crazy like how far the line, like, a lot of these studios plan for things. Speaking of like, having big and ambitious plans, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was also announced too, which is crazy because Sonic 2 didn't come out yet. It comes out on April 8th. So, I mean, 2 can't be half bad if they're already planning for 3.
I think they're very confident. I think they heard what a lot of people liked about 1 and even what fans want a bit more. And it seems like they're doubling down on a lot of those things, especially some action set pieces, and even knowing that Sonic 3 is happening, I can already kind of see and hope where they go and future characters that can be introduced because of just certain things that's happening in Sonic 2 just from the trailers that I'm noticing. So I am very much excited for Sonic 3. I can't wait. I know they barely said anything about it, but seeing my excitement for Sonic 2, how I might feel about Sonic 2, I'm down for the ride. That's all I know. I'm down for the ride.
Here. Speaking of the ride, a spin-off series about the classic character Knuckles was also announced that it's in development. What do you think of that?
That is interesting to do a spin-off series because it kind of says two things to me, especially considering Sonic 2 and where it could end. Knuckles is not going to be part of Sonic's core team for Sonic 3, and that he's gonna go off and do his own thing, and we're gonna see that, and he may return to Sonic 3. But at the same time, it's interesting. I'm actually interested to see what they do with the series, because is it gonna be Knuckles focused, or are we gonna see Sonic and Tails and that sort of thing? And at that point, you might as well do a live action Sonic Adventure series. So knowing that it's a series on Knuckles, I'm actually interested. I like Knuckles. I like him as a character in the Sonic franchise. So I'm curious to see the direction, mainly because that is very unknown considering Sonic 2 hasn't come out yet. We don't know what happened in the end or during that film, and etc. So I'm intrigued with the direction, the approach they're going to take Knuckles in.
And it's funny enough that you're curious about the direction. I'm curious about the direction too, because it's funny enough. Ben Schwartz, the guy who voices Sonic the Hedgehog in these films, he I believe he tweeted, he said, "We are building a whole universe here, people." So I guess that's what their intentions are. Maybe they're trying to pull, like, a Marvel or, like, a DC, like all these other things that have, like, shared universes. And it's just crazy enough. Like, do you feel like they're getting too confident with everything having to do with Sonic? Like, could you have ever predicted this amount of success with, like, Sonic the Hedgehog?
I mean,
in, like, motion pictures and stuff like that.
Possibly. I think now, I don't... See, I'm not sure about too confident, because I think they're just... I think it depends on the people behind, the scenes. And you can tell the director was very passionate about Sonic 1, that he basically, a prime example of, I think, how you should be treating fans, treating audiences right, is when the first design of Sonic came out and everyone hated it, because that's not Sonic.
Oh my god.
But then they literally said, we're going to change it. And they halted, they delayed, and they changed the design, showed a new trailer, and everyone was on board. Yeah, some people might have had a few gripes of maybe, let's say, the skin wasn't, should have been blue, but, his skin color, whatever. But at the same time, it's like he's a blue hedgehog. He looks a bit more cartoonish and how he should be, and that is what was important. And the director literally was like, yo, we're going to do this. Fans are not enjoying it. You don't see a lot of that from big Hollywood studios, and even directors go out their way to do this. So I think it's a level of the people who are part of the project as well, that they're like, if we can do this, we're sticking to it. Let's do more with this IP, with this franchise, because we know we can do more. And to get certain characters right, maybe it has to be a series. There's certain feelings I have for Marvel Studios to do X-Men. Do I think they're going to do what I would ideally want them to do for the X-Men? No, not at all. So, but you can see that at least here they're like, you know what, with Knuckles, let's do a series. Let's test the waters. And I like that, because they're doing more, they're experimenting, and they're opening the universe, and I enjoy that. And Sonic is a big universe.
So, it's funny enough that you say, like, they're listening to fans, too. I feel like, here's the thing, like, the first Sonic design, like, it was just so bad that the reception for that film would have just been too negative to surpass any sort of, like, nostalgia that fans have for the original Sonic games. Because I feel like a lot of people would have looked at that and it's been like, nah, maybe I'm not going to waste my time on this. Like, nah, I'm not going to tell my friends to go see this. And it's all that would have led to not being able to justify a sequel, right? So they can make more money, right? Because, again, that's what this is. And it's cynical to say, but, like, just about everything with movies, as everything else, like, in business, it's a money game, right? And if people are very clearly telling you, very passionately telling you that the main character in your movie looks like shit, then you better make some adjustments. So they definitely made the right move there. Like, and I remember seeing, like, all these memes and whatnot recently, like, oh, I can't believe, like, everybody, like, cyberbullied an entire studio into redoing the Sonic design. But at the end of the day, like, they made the smart move too. And it just makes me wonder, what were they thinking when they designed him the way they originally did? And it's just like, that entire first trailer was among the cringiest things I've ever watched, because you have that terrible design, you have Gangsta's Paradise being played in the freaking trailer. I'm like, this is probably like the worst combination of audio and visual that I've ever seen or ever witnessed.
Yeah, memories. But yeah, I'm excited for Sonic 3. Like, and I can only imagine where they're gonna go, considering certain things they've already teased in Sonic 2. So
no, again, like, I think we'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens with that. Let's at least get past Sonic the Hedgehog 2, right? Let's at least do that, see how that turns out, and I guess we'll be able to make a better judgment on whether or not anything else after that is really justified. But the last big thing that I want to talk about from this Paramount Investor Day, at which I read this and I got super excited because I did not think that this was going to happen. Star Trek 4 was announced. Now, I love the movies from this new Star Trek franchise. The first one going back to 2009. That's an excellent, excellent movie. I love it. It's currently planning to enter negotiations. The film is due on December 22nd of 2023. So that's actually not too far away. So I'm actually kind of excited that it's only about a year and a half away, as opposed to A Quiet Place 3, which is like, 2025. Like, okay, thanks. And then, so, of course, at this point, now, J.J. Abrams, directed the first 2 Star Trek films in this franchise. He's currently set to produce. Matt Shackman is currently set to direct this one. And I'm like, all right, whatever, who the hell is this guy? Never heard of him. I did a little digging. He's done directing on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Game of Thrones, WandaVision.
Love WandaVision.
Not only does he have like an impressive resume, I feel like all the parts of his resume from like what I just mentioned, like they're perfect for Star Trek. Like, they've got the sci-fi and fantastical elements from WandaVision and Game of Thrones, right? They've got the hard or like really like the epic scale from Game of Thrones, like you'd see in these Star Trek films, and they've got the humor from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? So he has experience in all that I feel like would be necessary to really sell or really put together like a solid Star Trek film, at least that can stand with the rest in this franchise, this new franchise.
Yeah, Star Trek 4, I'm actually excited. I know my dad's a huge Star Trek fan. He loves Star Trek. He always talks about Star Trek. I think he's as much as a Star Trek fan as a Star Wars fan, if not maybe a bit more of a Star Trek fan, because he just grew up with it. And so, I remember when the new Star Trek trilogy was out, he was not a fan of it. He did not like how certain characters were portrayed, and I was just like, wow, this is interesting. Interesting hearing from my dad, which is understandable. Some people have that attachment, just like how it was Uncharted we talked recently. So Star Trek 4, I'm actually excited because I liked the last Star Trek because I liked Idris Elba and that character, and I really liked that last one. So I'm curious to see where they go with Star Trek 4. I mean, knowing that they just announced it and they haven't really said a lot of details about it, it's hard to judge. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see where they take the next step. Just like how new Captain America film and and all the stuff in MCU is all about curiosity, the direction, where they're gonna go, how are they going to expand the universe, and etc. But now my question is, if they're doing Star Trek 4, are they also planning on doing almost a shared universe in a sense and do spin-offs?
Listen, nothing would surprise me at this point. Again, if it can make them money, then of course they're going to do it. They're absolutely going to do it. And it's funny enough, like it's going back to what I was saying about like the whole money-making thing, right? It's been a long time. Like by the time this film comes out, it'll be a long time from Star Trek Beyond, because I believe Star Trek Beyond came out in like 2016. From 2016 to 2023, that's a bit of a gap. Because apparently Star Trek Beyond lost money for Paramount, which I have no idea how that happened. Because I thought it was I thought it was a good movie, and again, just like from the success of the first 2 films, like how this one just like didn't do as well is just beyond me. Especially which again, like all across the board, like across the board, like they're pretty solid films. I know there's a lot of complaints with like Star Trek Into Darkness. Like I still think the movie's fine, but it's funny, too. Like, I also remember a while ago when Quentin Tarantino was writing a script for Star Trek, which, thinking about that could have been interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been interesting. But yeah, Star Trek 4, interesting, curious, matter of wait and see. And I'm curious to see where they take with this franchise. So, it's going to be interesting. Paramount, they said a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they really had quite the eventful day. Again, just capping off with this. Of course, the vast majority of like the cast from this franchise is set to return. Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, they're all set to return, and they're going to begin filming by the end of this year. So I'm really excited. Like I said, this is not news that I thought I was going to get, and it kind of just fell by the wayside, and I didn't feel like it was justified for that to happen. But I guess they did enough research. We're like, you know what? Let's try Star Trek 4 again.
Yeah.
Let's try this and let's see what happens. So now, again, obviously, quite the eventful day for Paramount. Is there anything that we forgot to cover when talking about like Paramount's Investor Day? Leave your thoughts wherever it is that you can.